Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today is Metro Police Chief John Drake, new Metro Police Chief John Drake. Chief, you grew up here in Nashville. When did it first occur to you that you wanted to be in law enforcement?
What happened, I had a cousin, well, I have a cousin, and he was put in for the police department, and he knew that, I'd already been doing things in the community, doing good things, and he felt that it would be a good way to expand that platform. And so we both put in to be police officers. I called and found out that I was hired. Then he called and found out that he wasn't for that particular class. 6 months later, he wound up getting into the police academy. And since then, he's had a great career and has retired. But he is the one I give the credit to. He's the one that asked me about becoming a police officer when I really hadn't thought much about it.
Did your parents play much role in it? What did they say what did they say to you when you said, "Hey, I'm going to go be a police officer"?
They were a little bit neutral on it. You take that era that grew up during the civil rights, that had to go in the back of restaurants, that had to sit at the back of the bus, that was called names and didn't really trust the police. To have their son think about going was really, they didn't try to discourage me, but they weren't real thrilled about it either.
Parents with children, parents of color who have children, particularly boys, often say they have a talk with their sons about being careful when they're around police because sometimes they get stopped for reasons that appear to be nothing more than just the color of their skin. Did your parents ever have that talk with you? Did you ever have an experience with police officers while you were growing up that made you wonder if you were being singled out?
Absolutely. My parents had, and every African-American family just about has that talk. But I think every family should have that, whether you're African-American or Caucasian, of what to do when pulled over or encountering a police officer. But for me, absolutely they did. And when I was in high school, I give this since I was being recruited by different colleges, and I went into the guidance counselor's office. I'd been called, and there was two detectives sitting there. And I had on a red shirt to University of Georgia, and they said, "Yep, looks just like him." And they showed me this picture of this guy, and I said, "No, it doesn't look like me." I said, all black people don't look alike. And they said, "Well, this guy has committed this real violent crime." It was really a rape of an 89-year-old lady. And they told me that they have a fingerprint on a cookie wrapper or something, and that can clear me or make it. And so they talked to me the whole way down, saying if they didn't have the fingerprint, they could still make a circumstantial case. So I went all the way down to juvenile, and they fingerprinted me and found out it wasn't me, and they eventually made the arrest. But I often think, what would have happened to me if that fingerprint wasn't there, that they pursued a circumstantial case and got a conviction? I'd probably be a felon, maybe homeless, maybe trying to see what's in store in my life. So those things happen to people, and it's something that I try really hard to ensure don't happen under my leadership.
Now that you're a police chief, I suspect you think that kind of built-in bias might still be out there among your police officers. What do you do to try to get them over that so that doesn't happen anymore?
So what we do is we try to vet officers to the best extent possible, and then we train them. We bring them in. We talk about ethics in policing. We talk about bias-based policing, recognizing that you have implicit bias and not to act on that, and also to treat people with dignity and respect. And we want to use an incident decision-making model where they look at the crime and the totality of it and not escalate things. And then we also, a major part of community engagement is people fear what they don't know. And so if officers can get in communities and people can know officers and officers can know the community, then hopefully that's going to lead to better interactions with everyone.
Chief, as we close on a little bit of a lighter side, your father played a very unique role in your life. He's given you, I think, some of the hobby that you do today, and that is you like to cook. He taught you how to cook, and what's interesting about that is that your father was blind. So how did he teach you? Was it by braille? Did he cook by sight or by feel as he did things?
Yes, he did about Phil, and I'm forever grateful for my dad. He wanted to make sure that I didn't depend on anyone for to cook for me, and so I'm a great cook. I can cook anything, and he did it by hand. He would put seasoning in. He would cup his hand, and he would put black pepper or salt or oregano or whatever. But he had everything situated where he knew what it was and could put it in there. Now, occasionally he would ask, "Hey, is this whatever seasoning?" But he still to this day, and he's deceased now, is one of the best cooks that I've ever known, and
So-
people that had his food.
So
say
what
the
are your
same.
favorite dishes, and what are you cooking for Christmas?
Well, I love barbecues. I do that a lot, but I do steak, I do seafood. But this particular Christmas is I wanted to break away from traditional meals at Christmas. So every year I do a theme Christmas. I've done Peruvian, Mexican. Last year I did Italian. And so this year I'm doing Swedish. I'm doing a Swedish ham, Swedish meatballs, gingerbread cinnamon cookies, a drink they have called glug, just to break up the monotony and have a meal that's unique and it's a theme for a different country.
Chief John Drake, thank you so much for being on the program. Sounds like you have a yummy holiday ahead of you, and we appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me on, and I truly appreciate you.
That's Inside Politics for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the NewsChannel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. The Zoo commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you here next time. Goodbye.